Okay, I think we are live at this very second.
Hi, everybody. So, Balloon Josh here from Houston, Texas. We're recording live for clownantics.com. We're hopefully going to get another camera set up in just a second, but computer's not being my friend today. So right now we just got this one. But welcome to Balloons for Beginners. We're going to start at the very, very beginning of twisting. Everything from how to tie a knot, best way to inflate the balloon, you know, even stuff pre-inflating the balloon. And then we're also going to talk about, we're going to go through all the basic twists. We're going to go through the different kinds of twists, different kind of weaves, and just kind of work up to, and then, you know, depending on how much time we have at the end, we'll get to doing requests and get to doing different designs. But first, I just wanted to, you know, start off with the basics, because I want to pretend that, you know, what if there's someone who's watching this who's never made a single balloon before? I want to kind of help with someone at that level, but hopefully there's things that everyone can learn from this, regardless of what your skill level is at. Okay? So with that being said,
hang on one second. I'm just about to go live on Facebook.
Okay,
hi, everybody.
do it.
I am the owner of Clown Antics, so hello, everybody. Glad you could join. And so we're going to try to do webinars about ballooning and clowning and so forth for Clown Antics. And I'm really glad you guys can join us. Okay, I think it is there.
Ready?
Hang on. Got to turn off the sound. I should have always done that. Okay.
I'm ready.
Are you
ready?
I'm ready. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so just to start, one thing that I haven't always done, which I found helps when inflating balloons, that you might say is common sense, but I found, you know, I've done events with other twisters from beginner to expert, and one thing I've noticed is that not everybody does this, but when you blow up your balloon, before you blow it up, it helps sometimes stretch it. You'd think, oh, well, of course, but not everyone knows that. So I want to pretend that what if someone's never twisted a balloon? So one thing that can be very helpful is to just stretch the balloon out. Normally what I found is I'll do is just, you know, put it between two fingers, fold in half, just give it a little stretch before I blow it up. It just kind of helps it blow up easier and faster. Okay.
Hi, Harry and Phyllis say hi.
Hi. So, so the first thing that I found is a common mistake that a lot of twisters don't do when they're first starting off. A lot of twisters don't leave themselves with enough of a nozzle. Okay. You want to leave yourself a good enough nozzle that you can tie it to stuff. You know, unless you're making something specifically where you want a short nozzle. But I found a big problem that I notice a lot of people who are just starting out make is they don't make this long enough. So I'm going to show you why that happens and how to avoid that. So whether you're using a hand pump or blowing it up by mouth, or using, you know, pump like a filbert, or using an electric legenda, again, a lot of the problems I found are the same. So one of the problems is people don't push it far enough down on the nozzle. Okay, they'll just put it like barely on, and then when you blow it up, if you notice, like I just have like a little tiny, like it doesn't give me much room to tie it, right? So then you're trying to like do a lot and tying a knot, but you don't have enough like space to tie a knot. And I found a lot of people starting off, they end up getting like blisters on their fingers, and it hurts their fingers because they don't have enough to tie a knot. So there's two ways to fix that. One way is after you blow it up and you have this little tiny nozzle, right? Just like pinch it about an inch in, let it go, then tie it, okay? And then you have a longer knot, okay? So that's one way to do it, is you blow it up, you pinch it, let it go, so that you have yourself a nozzle, and then tie it. The other way, what I find to do, is that when I put it on, whether it's on this, on my filbert, on a legenda, I just pull it down farther onto the nozzle. So rather than just barely pulling on, I pull it down a good inch, and then I grab it and pull it down a little bit more, so that then when I inflate it, you'll notice it gives me a nice long nozzle. So that makes it very easy to just wrap it around my finger. Okay, some people do 2 fingers. Okay, some people prefer to wrap it around with 2. What I do is I just wrap it around 1, but I pull it long so it gives me plenty of room to just tuck it through, and then I can pull my finger right out. So just to start, when we're talking about tying the knot, not getting married, but on a balloon, I find that the biggest mistake a lot of people do starting out is they make their nozzle too short, and it makes it difficult to wrap around the finger and tie it. So the way I found to make that easier is, again, either let some air out and then tie it, or put it further on the nozzle to begin with, because again, you want more of this, and it'll make it easier to tie, it'll make it easier on your fingers, and it'll give you, if you're doing something like a loop twist where you want to pull it through, it gives you more to do that. Or if you're doing something where you're attaching two balloons together, it gives you a longer anchor point, right? So that's just basic, right? So now that we've talked about that, another thing that I found is a common mistake among a lot of people starting out is that they try and blow it up too slow, which can cause problems. So for instance, if you're trying to blow your balloon up and you're just going like, and you're trying to blow it up and you're going too slow, because a lot of times the reason that happens is because when people first starting out, they're afraid of it popping, right? So they think that if they do it slowly, it'll prevent it from popping. But that's actually not the case. So what happens is you're blowing it up slow, some of the air is leaking out as you're inflating it, and then what happens is you're actually putting more air into the bottom before it pushes it down, right? So what that means is that the latex here at the bottom is actually, the balloon is stretched more and it's thinner. So it's actually going to be more likely to pop if you blow it up slowly, okay? That's something that a lot of people don't know, or maybe they wonder, why are my balloons always popping? If you're blowing it up slow, it overinflates the part that is blown up so that there's more air crammed into a smaller space because you're blowing it up slow, so it's stretching as it's going. And so a lot of times that'll make it more tense, and you can even feel it if you blow it up slow versus blow it up fast. So what I encourage people to do is when you blow up a balloon, again, don't be afraid of it popping. Just put it on. You want to go fast, okay? When you do it fast, it tends to be more squishy versus when you do it slow, it tends to be more firm. And again, that makes it easier to pop. So again, two things just to start: stretch it before you blow it up will help. Make sure you give yourself a long nozzle by either releasing some and tying it, or by putting it farther on the inflator to begin with. Or if you're mouth inflating, same thing. Just make sure you give yourself a long nozzle. And again, blow it up fast, not slow, because then it pushes the air in lengthwise before it really has a chance to expand widthwise. Or if you're going slow, it expands widthwise faster than it expands lengthwise, if that makes any kind of sense. So that's just what I found over time, is that if you're hesitant pumping it up because you're afraid it's going to pop, you're actually increasing your chances that it will pop. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy there. So now that we got how to tie a balloon, how to stretch a balloon, how to inflate a balloon, now it's time to get into twisting. So
I should say, if anybody has any questions or anything, please let me know, and I will ask Josh.
Yes. Okay, so for starters, something to remember is that wherever you pinch the balloon, regardless of where you're twisting, it's going to twist the bubble off where you pinch it, okay? So what that means is this. Even if I'm trying to twist a small bubble here, right? If I pinch it here and I twist it way down here, see where it makes the bubble? It makes the bubble over here. Even though I'm twisting way down here. I'm twisting here, but if I'm pinching it over here, it's going to pinch it off down here. So keep that in mind wherever you want, however big you want your bubble to be, that's where you need to be pinching it, okay? A big problem, so we're gonna go with a couple of different twists. So the first twist I find that I learned and that most twisters learn is the lock twist, right? This is where you create 3 bubbles, lock them together, okay? So this is most commonly seen like the basic balloon dog, like this guy right here, okay? That's made using lock twists, where you just go, you pinch it, twist it, okay? And I never just do one, okay? If you just do like pinch and twist, that's barely twisted. It's gonna be really easy for that to come undone, okay? So I normally, when I twist at least 3 times, right? So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, okay? And for the lock twist, what we're gonna do is you want to hang on to this, because if you let go, it's just going to come undone, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, hold on to that one, create another one by pinching, twisting 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you have 2 bubbles. Okay, and do that again, 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 bubbles. The way a lock twist works is you always have 3 sections, right? And then you fold it over and you twist them together. Okay, and that's your basic lock twist. The reason it's called a lock twist is because by twisting the 3 bubbles together at the base of 1 and 3, what it does is it locks it into place. So as they shake it, if they hit it, it doesn't come undone, because those 3 bubbles, the friction and the pressure of them being together here at the base, it keeps them from untwisting themselves. So that's your basic lock twist, okay? And so then if you want to make a basic dog, again, you just do the same thing, you just change the size of the bubbles, right? So small bubble, another bubble, and then another bubble, right? Fold it over, twist it, right? And do it one more time, bubble, another bubble, and another bubble, okay? Fold over. So all it is for a basic dog is just lock, twist, lock, twist, lock, twist, okay? And if you want to do some fancy stuff, if you kind of stretch the end, and then you hold it right here. You don't want to pinch it because you want the air to be able to go through, so you just hold it loosely, but tight enough that the air won't expand this part, because you want the air to go through. And if you stretch this part out and then brace it here, when you squeeze this, the air should shoot past your fingers all the way to the end, like this. Okay? So it gives you that nice little kind of classic puppy dog. And again, a big thing to remember when you're first starting out is dimensions, okay? A lot of the biggest mistakes I see beginning twisters make is that their dimensions are off. Like they'll have the front legs be really big and the back legs be really short. You want everything to look proportionate. So if you look, this is a pretty even proportioned dog, where the nose is even proportions to the ears, which is even proportions to the legs, to the body, to the back legs, to the tail. Like, it looks very aesthetically pleasing because it's proportionate. If the proportions were all off, and the nose is really long, or the ears are really short, all of a sudden it doesn't look like a dog. It doesn't have that appeal. So that's just one thing, is to, again, remember the proportions. You want to try and keep them balanced. And then, again, just practice, practice, practice. But this would be your basic lock twist, where you just create 3 bubbles, twist them together, and it kind of locks it in place. Okay? That's the one. Next one is a loop twist. Okay? So a loop twist is made, you do a bubble, okay? And then you do a longer bubble, okay? And then you're going to fold it over like this, creating a loop. Okay, so you have a bubble, a longer bubble, you fold it over, and you twist it, and that's, see, it's a loop. Okay? So just create a loop. Then you can do it again, and create another loop. So you just, all you're doing is folding it over, and you have a loop. Okay? So you just think it should look like this. It's just kind of a big loop or a big fold. It can be bigger or smaller. You can have different sizes of loop twists. But the basic idea of a loop twist is just that. It's a loop. It's you take a long section of balloon, you fold it over on itself, right? So if you wanted to do something like this, you could do, you know, little neck, and you do a small loop twist, followed by another small loop twist. Okay? So you get to that kind of look. Okay, then you do a little body, followed by a small, so loop twist, again, all I'm doing is I'm taking the balloon and bending it over. If you want, you can actually twist the bubble and then bend it over. But this is the idea that you're just bending and creating a loop, right? Do it again. So I'm going to create a bubble, and I'm going to bend it over. Okay? So think of a loop twist as, you know, you're just bending the balloon back on itself. Okay? And so then you can, for this, we just want to kind of squeeze the air towards the end. So this would be like a very, very, very basic, kind of like this was the first cat I think I learned to make, was this using loop twists, right? It's a little tiny kitty cat, as opposed to like puppy dog. Yeah. And if you don't like the nose kind of song, so what you can do is you take the knot and just kind of wrap it around the ears. Okay? Just kind of give you like a little shorter face. But again, this is not what I would make for a gig. But again, showing you, this is the best way I can think of to describe and show you a creation pretty much just using loop twists. So this would be just using lock twists, where you create 3 bubbles, lock them together. 3 bubbles, 3 bubbles. It's this idea of creating a set of 3, twisting it together, locking it in place. For a loop twist, you're essentially doing 2 bubbles. You do a bubble, and then you do a loop. You do a loop. You're just looping it back on itself and just kind of folding the balloon over and looping it. This is not only good for a little kitty cat, but if you're doing like a flower bracelet or something, like one I was doing, my wife was actually doing earlier. You do this, a flower bracelet. All it is, if you can see here, it's just loop twists, right? It's just this is just 5 loop twists in a row. So again, that can create a good looking flower bracelet. But yeah, it's again, that's the loop twist, where you're just folding it over, where you create that little loop right there, and then twisting it. Okay. Now this one's almost done, so you just break it off. That's another part, is just learning. You can kind of feel the balloon when it's tight. Like if you've been doing this for all, you should be able to tell when a balloon's about to pop, right? You should be able to feel the pressure building up in it. But yeah, so that would just be, again, like your loop twists. You can do it for, like we said, for the cat, for a flower. But you could also stack a couple of these and create like a cute looking like pumpkin or stack of pumpkins for fall coming up, or for Halloween. This would make a cute little pumpkin, put a little stem coming out of it. Yeah, so there's the loop twist. So we learned lock twist, loop twist. Next one we're going to do is the pinch twist.
Lindsay says hi, by the way.
Hi. Speaking of Lindsay, if you guys need to learn marker art, learn how to draw faces on balloons, you need to look up Lindsay's tutorial, Pretty Faces. It's on Balloon Twister Cookbook. You can look at her website. But yeah, I will say, like, for years, I've done what I would consider to be good balloons, and then I destroy them by doing horrible faces, because I'm not a drawer in that regard, and I suck at drawing. And so I'd make this balloon that I'm really proud of, and then I'm like, oh, dang it, now time to ruin it. And I draw a face, and they were happy. I mean, the people would be happy with it, but they're not ecstatic about the face, because it looked like, a kindergartner drew it. But recently I've been working on my marker art on my faces, and I've learned a lot from Lindsay, and she's the best when it comes to faces. I also took a class with Lisa McIntyre, where I learned like Hawaii style, like kind of Japanese style faces. And I'm telling you, the reaction from the customer when you make a princess with an ugly face versus a princess with a pretty face, it's a really big difference. And not only does it increase like the wow factor, but it also increases the money. Meaning, like, I have regular restaurant gigs that I do, and last night I was trying out these new faces that I've been working on thanks to Lindsay and Lisa, and I had some tables tip me a lot of money for some pretty basic balloons just because it had a cute face. So I don't want to. I think a lot of people, when we're talking about people starting out, a lot of twisters, I think, underestimate the value of good marker art or good drawing on balloons. They just think, oh, my balloons, the twisting will speak for itself. Not always.
Hey, Lindsay, if you have a link to this, please put it in the chat so everybody else can see it. That'd be great.
Because it definitely pays to invest in good marker art. Absolutely. So something to keep in mind. So now we're going to work on, but yeah, so if you're wanting to improve your marker game, Lindsay Foster is the way to go.
Frank says he wants to take your superhero class.
Ooh, yeah. That's a fun one.
Yeah?
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that on here, because I have a couple different superheroes designs that have been really popular that are not only popular but pretty easy. Because that's kind of my shtick, is I try and make everything not only I want it to look good, but I also want it to be easy enough to add an event. Because my general rule of thumb is for twisting balloons, if you can't make it in 3 minutes or less, you can't make it. I hear a lot of people tell people, oh, I can make anything. But then the problem is that when they're at an event, someone will say, oh, make this. And I'm like, oh, well, I can't. That would take too long. Well, then, realistically speaking, you can't make it. If the only Mickey Mouse you can make takes 15 minutes and you're never going to be able to make that at an event, then you shouldn't say you can make that. So I want to be able to make anything in that time frame. Just letting you know, Blake, I just tried to, my thing finally opened, but it's
Josh's computer is tragically misinclined to help us today.
So I finally opened the email and clicked on the link because we're trying to have it. So ideally for everyone watching, we want the phone that you're watching on right now to be literally zoomed in on just my hands. And then what is this? Wait, I think I'm on here now. Wait just a second. Blake, I think my computer's now connected. Let's see. Do you see my other one now?
Yeah, I do. There we go.
So I'm going to mute my computer sound.
Yep.
Okay. So can you still hear me on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everybody. So now
you can zoom the phone in, and we're going to mostly use the phone anyway, but you can zoom the phone in.
Okay. Okay. So now we'll put this right here. So I'll make my balloons here, and then. Oh, I see. Okay. So now you got me on the computer and on the phone. Woo-hoo! Okay. Awesome. Okay. So now that we got both of these set up, let's keep rolling.
Yeah, Lindsay, everybody seems to be, Pamela asked for your marker art link if you've got it, and Kimberly Wolf says hi.
Yep. Oh, hi, Kimberly. But yeah, the marker art class by Lindsay, definitely worth getting. Absolutely, I highly recommend it. Can't go wrong with that. So we're going to work on pinch twists, okay? So pinch twist, I find, of all of the twists, seems to be one of the ones that people have the most problem with. I find when I'm teaching beginners classes, usually the loop twist, people don't have too much problems with. Lock twist, usually people don't have much problems with. I've also seen a dog made with the loop twist, which is basically you just make the nose, fold it over for the ears, make the body, or make the neck.
No, Harry, his computer hasn't disconnected again. What I did was I just zoomed in on a phone, so you don't have to see both of the cameras.
So I've seen people make a dog this way. Can I just say, just as an artist, please don't. Like, no offense, but like, even if you're super beginner, like this doesn't take that long. This is pretty easy. This is in my personal opinion, I find this is kind of lazy just because this is not that much easier or faster than this, but it looks so much different, especially like head on. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never met too many dogs where the ears are attached or the feet are like attached at the bottom. This looks like a dog with like wheels. If you have like Robo Dog on wheels. So anyway, please don't make your dogs like this. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I've seen people starting out where this is their basic dog, where they just do it with loop twist. That again, that was my point with just showing you lock twist like this versus a loop twist. But again, most people when they're starting out, they don't usually have a problem learning lock twist or loop twist. It's pinch twist that gives them problems. So here's the biggest problem I see with pinch twists. Either their pinch twists are too small and then not really functional, or they're too big and then they're essentially loop twists. So the way you do a pinch twist is you have a bubble, okay? And then you have a small bubble, okay? Mm-hmm. So you have a small bubble, and then you fold it over, you pinch it, and twist it, okay? So it should look like that, okay? This is great for if you're making characters. It makes great joints like ankles, knees, elbows, hands. This is good for like connecting points or for ears, for like monkeys and things. So a pinch twist comes in handy a lot, especially when you have two pinch twists together. That's very handy because they're one of the only twists that can keep the balloon from deflating past that point. What I mean is if you have a dog with a lock twist, right? If I pop this balloon will come undone, right? If I pop any of these bubbles, the balloon past it will come undone, okay? Same thing with a loop twist. If I pop any of these bubbles, the whole thing will come undone. It'll come unraveled. With a pinch twist, if I had one pinch twist and pop it, it'll come unraveled. But if I put two pinch twists, anything you pop on one side of it, won't deflate the stuff on the other side. So I use pinch twists a lot of times for hands, for body parts where I can do 2 pinch twists, break off the remaining excess, and I don't have to worry about tying the balloon because the 2 pinch twists kind of pinch it off, right? But the most common problems I see when people are trying to do pinch twists, they either make their bubble way too small, like I've seen a lot of like this, where then they have this really, really tiny baby pinch twist, okay? And then the problem with having like a really tiny pinch twist is that especially if it's an anchor point, where when a lot of my stuff I make, I'm tying stuff to pinch twists on, like I have one balloon with a pinch twist, and I'm taking another balloon and tying it into that pinch twist. Well, if your pinch twist is really small, you can't really wrap and tie balloons into it because it doesn't have any like substance, right? The other problem I see people doing is they'll do like a pinch twist that's kind of too big, and then you're trying to do like this big pinch twist, which if you're doing that, the problem with the really, really big pinch twist is that then there's a lot of pressure, and so it pops really easy if the pinch twist is too big. But then also it ends up almost looking like a loop twist, because essentially that's all a loop twist is it's a really big pinch twist. I mean, if you think about it, there's a pinch twist is where you take a balloon, right? You have to take a bubble, you fold it over on itself, you pinch it and twist it, right? Well, a loop twist is essentially the same thing, where you take a bubble, but just to make it bigger, right? Fold it over on itself, pinch it, and twist. I mean, essentially speaking, a loop twist is the same process as a pinch twist, just it's longer, right? But the actual mechanics of it are identical. So when you do a really big pinch twist, it almost ends up looking just like a small loop twist. And I don't think it particularly looks good when they're really big. But also, you know, as you get, like, I don't know if you, I mean, you can't really feel this balloon. You don't have that technology available yet. But whereas a normal pinch twist it's not too tense. It doesn't, but this one's, I mean, you can feel it. It's really, really tight. This one would pop very easily if a kid plays with it too much. So another reason you don't want to make your pinch twist too big. Same thing with the small ones. It's small. If the pinch twist is too small, it has the same problem as it's too big. It gets really tight and dense, and it pops really easy. So that's why you really want to make sure that when you do a pinch twist, you really want it to be between, I'd say, 1/2 inch to 1 inch in size. You fold it over. I'll make sure everyone can see this. Okay, pinch, twist. Okay. Again, same thing with inflating applies to twisting. If you're twisting a pinch twist or a lock twist or a loop twist, you're twisting it really slow because you're afraid of it popping. It's actually more likely to pop. So the best analogy I can think of to make is like a chiropractor, right? If you've ever been to a chiropractor, what a chiropractor does is your back is out of alignment, right? And so what he'll do is he'll quick pop it back into alignment, right? Like he'll quick pop your neck, quick pop your back, and he'll quick pop those things in alignment, okay? Because he knows how to quick pop it back in place, right? If you try and do it yourself, you can actually do permanent damage, because what happens if you're trying to pop your own back, pop your own neck, you tend to not do it as fast. You tend to be more cautious, so you tend to do it slow. Well, what that does is it stretches out those muscles, so then they're stretched out, and they tend to pull your back or your neck out of alignment even more. Same thing with the balloon. If you just do it fast, what you're doing is you're twisting it fast before the balloon has a chance to really realize what's going on. And so you're quick twisting it out of shape, stretching that latex, but then it's back in position before it has time to react, right? If that makes sense. If you twist it too slow, what happens is you get to like that max, the critical point, and then you're not getting back to a resting state soon enough. So basically what happens is the latex balloon goes, I'm done, and it just, you know, pops, and it comes undone. So a lot of times if people twist too slowly, it's actually more likely to pop than if you twist fast. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to both inflating the balloon and twisting the balloon. If you do it slow, you're actually increasing the chances that it's going to pop on you. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. I wanted to show you one more thing when it comes to pinch twist before we move on. There's kind of
so Frank
ways.
asked a question. He said, he said, isn't it not a good habit to make the head the 2 small pinch twists for ears?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you're making and your skill level and your and your time, how much time you have per creation, right? So I can't remember the last, like when I first learned to make a monkey or a squirrel or any of those things. I remember the way I was first kind of doing things was just do 2 pinch twists for the ears, right? I haven't done that in years. I'll show you my basic face that I use for dogs, cats, animals in general. It doesn't look like that at all. But I still know people who do that, who are like just doing really quick, trying to do 1 balloon designs. And I don't think it's bad. See, I think sometimes artists can be too snobby for our own good. I mean, because we're artists, right? We want to excel at our art. And so the problem I see with a lot of artists is they get to a certain skill level where they're so proud of where they are versus where they were, that they tend to look down on the people that were where they used to be, right? And here's why I think that can be a major problem, is there's different markets, right? There's different clients with different budgets. So I've had clients who reached out to me for a quote, and I told them how much I cost, and then they ended up going with someone else. And so I always ask, say, hey, who'd you end up going with, right? And they sent me, they told me, oh, I went with this other company. We looked at their website. I'm like, really? You went with those guys? Like, it was so simple in comparison, right? It was just little, like, I mean, it was literally this, and this, and like little 1 balloon creations, and not like the elaborate stuff, but that's what the client wanted. And so for me, it's like saying that, oh, well, because, Outback Steakhouse exists, McDonald's shouldn't exist. Well, no, they're different markets. So just because advanced, elaborate creations, where each balloon is 4 or 5 balloons for 1 creation, just because there are balloon artists making that, I don't think means that there shouldn't also be balloon artists making this. Because some clients, this is all they want.
Right.
And if this is all a client wants, no offense, I don't think they should be paying a balloon artist, necessarily $100, $150, $200 an hour if all they really want is simple stuff. Like I had a place who called me wanting me to make bagels. Like that's all they wanted me to make for their event. They were a bagel company. They're having grand opening. They just wanted me to make brown bagel balloons. And I tried to convince them. I'm like, really? What if I at least made like rainbow braid bagels? They're like, no. We just want simple brown loops, bagels. We want you to give those out to customers. And I was like dying inside. I'm like, oh, I felt so like lame artistically.
Hey Josh, can you prop up your phone camera a little bit? Because we're going to probably do that. I think that works better. So just prop that up so we can see a little bit of your face. There we go. Perfect.
You want to see my face?
It's so attractive. There we go.
Okay. So, but anyway, at the end of the day, so to answer Faye's question, as a general rule, no, I don't do that right now. I don't do the 2 pinch twists for ears. I don't like the way it looks for a face. I like to make my faces more elaborate. However, I don't see a problem if people want to make their faces that way. Just because, again, it's different clientele. It's a different style, right? It's a more simplistic, but I don't see anything wrong with simplistic. Again, it's different markets, different audiences. It depends on which clients you're trying to get, right? So, but I just do want to show you a couple different ways to do pinch twists. There's a couple different ways that I think, depending on what you're wanting to do. One thing you'll see in a lot of different designs is 2 pinch twists back to back, right? So there's a couple different ways to do that. I wanted to show you those 3 main ways that I've come across. So one is to just make 2 pinch twists, right? So you can do that you do a bubble, you fold it over, pinch it, twist it, and then you immediately make another bubble, fold it over, pinch it, and twist it, right? So you get this. You get 2 pinch twists, right? That's one way to do 2 pinch twists, is you just do 2 separate pinch twists. Another way to do it is you make 2 bubbles, okay, that are about an inch and a half, okay, like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to twist this bubble this way, twist this bubble this way, and it'll create 2 pinch twists, right? So you take these bubbles, you pinch them, twist them in opposite directions, okay? And you create 2 pinch twists, same like that, okay? The difference is these tend to be a little more relaxed because you did them one at a time. These ones do tend to be a little bit tighter and will pop easier because they're made that way. Now, if you're in a rush and that's how you want to do them, you can do it that way. Again, I'm going to show you how I did that. You do 2 bubbles, okay? You fold them over just like a lock, right? But then you're going to squeeze them and twist them in opposite directions. Oops, came undone. But you twist them in opposite directions, and it creates the 2 pinch twists. The other way to do it is what I've heard it called a couple things. I've heard it called a thumb roll. I've heard it called a split twist. But basically what you do is you create 1 pinch twist. Okay, you have a 1 pinch twist, and then what you're going to do is you're going to see if I can show you. You're going to roll it where you're doing like this movement, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to get this knot at the base here to split this in half and create 2 pinch twists. So you're doing this. You're going to roll it like this. Okay, and then this creates 2 smaller pinch twists. Okay, I find a lot of people have a hard time doing that, especially if they're starting out. I'm going to show you that again. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a bubble, fold it over, 1 pinch twist, and then you're going to roll it like this. Okay, kind of looks like a butt, but you're going to roll it and creates 2 pinch twists. Okay, so I find that where I use this most is for hands. Hands of my dragon, my ninja, that split twist comes in handy. Because then again, what I was saying before, if this was a lock twist or a loop twist, which you could not do, break off the extra, all of this will come inflated. But because it's 2 pinch twists, the pressure, the friction, the tension, however you want to put it, between the 2 pinch twists holds this so it doesn't come uninflated. So that's another thing that's good for pinch twists, is if you do like 2 pinch twists for one hand, 2 pinch twists for the other hand connected with a bubble, you can pop that bubble and it splits the 2 arms, so now you've got separate arms, okay? So that's one way to view it. So again, we covered lock twist, loop twist, pinch twist. The other one that I think is important to know is a tulip twist. So tulip twist, I'll show you on the small version. And so tulip twist is the first way I learned it is actually to create a tulip. I think that's why I got the name tulip twist. But basically, all tulip twist is you take your knot, you're going to push the knot with your finger inside the balloon. Then outside the balloon, you're going to grab the knot, pull your finger out, and twist it, right? So I'm going to take my finger, put it on the knot, okay? Push it in, okay? The other thing, I'm going to feel for the knot. And you feel, okay, grab the knot, and then I'm going to pull my finger out, okay? Now, if I let go of this, it just comes right back out, right? So what you do is you push your finger in, you grab the knot, you twist it, and then you kind of feed it back inside from the reverse angle. Okay, and what that does is it kind of creates a little tulip. Okay,
a little tulip.
What you can do, you can call it a breath tester. So what you do is if you squeeze it one way or the other, just very slightly with your fingers, you make it look like it's leaning. So what you do is you walk up to someone and say, this tests if you have fresh breath or not. Open your mouth, and they go, and then you just squeeze it, and it kind of like leans away from their mouth. And you can say, ooh, you got bad breath. Or you can lean it towards your mouth, like, ah, good breath. But anyway, that's fun. The other thing you can do is you can make it a launcher. Where you just kind of put it between your fingers and shoot it and make like a little launcher using the tulip twist. But you can also do it with a normal balloon where same thing. You're taking your finger, push it in, find it, grab the knot, pull your finger out, and again, you twist it and kind of just push it back a little bit. And so then you get kind of this tulip twist on there. So what I find this works best for, it depends. I use this primarily, the thing I use this most for is if I'm making rifles or guns, I make that as the barrel of my gun. So that I like the fact that there's like, like all kids go, oh, look, it even has where the bullets come out, right? So, but that's what it's most commonly used for. What I most commonly use it for is the barrel of guns. I've also used it for like airplane propellers. You can attach balloons to this point and make like, so I've used it for front of airplane propellers. I've used it for jet engines. But the other thing that's nice about it is in addition to having a hole in it, if you want to, it also has like a nice flat look on top as opposed to like a more like rounded look with the knot, right? So if you want something that looks flat on top, like you want to make a small Lego guy and give him like that flat head, you can use like a tulip twist for that. But yeah, we're not going to discuss marriage twists right now, just because I find that's a little bit more intermediate too advanced, I would say, twisting. So I think leave marriage twists and sidewall twists and things like that for another class. This one, I just wanted to focus on these main 4 and then talk about what we can do with them, and we'll work on some weaves as well. So again, the main ones you focus on are lock twist, okay? And Blake, will they be able to watch this back after it's gone?
Yeah, so you'll get for those that are attending through the webinar, they'll get a link to watch this, and it'll also be on Facebook Live on Clown Antics Facebook page.
Yeah, so just want to let you guys know, if you missed it or you joined late, you can always go back and rewatch stuff. So we worked on the lock twist, we worked on the loop twist, and we talked about pinch twist, right? This little crazy, it almost looks like a little scorpion. I guess it could be a little squirrel scorpion. Ah! Okay.
There we go.
But anyway, you got pinch twist, right? And then we talked about the tulip twist. Okay. So what I would encourage you to do is literally just practice. I think that's the biggest problem that balloon twisters make a lot of times, and not just balloon twisters, face painters, musicians, just artists in general. We don't like to practice.
Right.
Right. And I think that's one thing that, like, literally when I first started out, I would sit there and I would watch like a TV show, and I would try and just do it without looking, right? I would just try and sit there and I would try and just go, and I'd just sit there and I'd be watching TV and I'd try and not look at my hands, and I would just see how many pinch twists I could make on one balloon. And I would just sit there and I would pinch twist, and then I'd go on, do another one, I would pinch twist, and I'd just be sitting there watching a TV show, watching a movie, listening to some music, whatever, calms you down. So you can listen to some Pandora, you can listen to, an audiobook, but I would encourage you to just get there and just take a balloon, inflate it, and then just like see how many different pinch twists you can do, or how many lock twists you can do on one balloon, or how many thumb rolls, and just sit there, and then, you could be like, ooh, look, it's a funny little caterpillar. Okay. But, again, for like pinch twists especially, just sit there, pinch twist, and just practice. Okay. And get to where you want to get to, where you can make a pinch twist, a lock twist, and a loop twist without looking at what you're doing, right? Because if you have to look at everything, it's going to slow you down. You're not going to be able to like think forward to the next step, right? You're having to look at each step. So that would be my best advice, is just, again, never stop practicing. No matter how experienced you are or how skilled you are, you're never too good not to practice.
Awesome.
So yeah. So now that we've worked on some of the basic different twists, I figured we'd go from there and talk about some different weaves that I think are super important for people to learn, that I think are pretty easy, but oftentimes not taught to beginners, but I think that they're valuable for beginners. So first of all, does anyone have any questions or anything that we haven't answered that we can kind of insert now?
No, so far.
Okay. Again, guys, feel free at any point to ask any questions you want to, if you have any questions, and again, they don't have to be balloon related, just like strictly with the twisting aspect. If you have questions for business related, like how to do social media, website, how to pitch to a restaurant, how to work for tips, how to busk, how to, what you should be charging. Anything, whether it's business, whether it's twisting, whether it's marketing or anything, whether it has to do with your gear, your balloons, which brands are better. Any questions at all, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to just share what I've learned over the years. Again, I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this for 28 years, believe it or not. I know.
28 years? Wow.
Yep, I started doing this when I was 9 years old, and now I'm 37. So I've done this a very long time. I will say balloons have changed a lot in that amount of time. I remember when I was 9 and starting out, this was amazing. And now it's like the balloon game has changed a lot. And what I found is interesting is that like it's accelerating a lot faster, meaning the amount it progressed from like 1990 to the year 2000, right? Versus how much it progressed between 2000 and 2010. And then like I'd say, I think the balloon game has probably advanced and improved more from 2010 to 2019 than it did from 1990 to 2010, right? I think in the past 5 to 10 years, we've seen more growth and more innovation in the balloon industry than we saw in the previous 20 to 30 years.
And what do you ascribe that to?
Technology. Because when I started out, there was no Pinterest, there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube. I had no way of knowing what other artists were doing, right? And so now that you have all these things, you have Pinterest, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have all of this stuff, you get to see as an artist some of the sick things coming out of Mexico City and Shanghai and Hong Kong and Moscow and some of the stuff I mean, like, for real, like, I see some of the stuff coming out of Russia and Asia that these balloon artists are doing, and I'm like, what? But, like, it challenges me to be better, but it also, like, I'll see something that'll give me an inspiration. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it that way, but it gives me an idea to do it a different way. So I think that there has been that the ease of technology and accessibility to information has made not just balloons, but pretty much every industry advance a lot more quickly, a lot more recently. So
that's interesting.
But right now, what I want to talk about is a flat weave. So flat weave I use for a couple things. This is what I use for like a car, for like a Lightning McQueen or race car. I use this for a monster truck. I use this for Winnie the Pooh for his shirt. I use this for SpongeBob SquarePants for his head. You can use this for a purse. There's a bunch of different applications. And so I'm just going to teach you the basic flat weave and then leave it to you to figure out what you're going to do with it, right? So you're going to want 2 balloons. You're going to want them, you want a pretty decent amount, I'd say 5 to 6 inches uninflated. And what you're going to do is you're going to start by, with each one, you're going to do a pinch twist, okay, and then wrap the knot around it, because you want that pinch twist to hold by itself, right? And the knot will kind of keep it from coming undone. Same thing on the other one. Pinch twist, take the nozzle, wrap it around, and it'll kind of hold it in place, okay? So you're going to start off with 2 balloons, pinch twist on either end. And what you want to do for these ones, I normally want to go a little bit over a little bit about a hand's width, or roughly 4 inches, okay, bubble, and then you're going to tie that to the other pinch twist, okay? And then what you're going to do, you're going to make this one, from that pinch twist, go back over.
A question came from Pamela. What do you do when your balloon is inflated all the way and you try to do a pinch twist and the balloon softens because the air moves to the uninflated part of the balloon?
Okay, so if I'm going to try and recreate that. So it's inflated all the way, or it's not inflated all the way?
Isn't inflated all the way.
Okay, so that should be happening. So if I understand correctly, what the concern is, okay, you have a part that's uninflated, like this, right? And then you're saying when you do a pinch twist, right, that it's pushing the air here, right, so that you're not getting the right size pinch twist, if that's what I'm understanding. So that should be happening, meaning when I do a pinch twist, right, when I do a pinch twist, what's happening is it's taking the air and it is pushing it this direction. That's why you don't want to inflate your balloon all the way at the beginning, because then it'll pop, because as you're twisting, you're pushing the air into the uninflated part. Whereas if you inflate a balloon halfway, do a bunch of pinch twists, at the end, there's going to be nothing left because you're pushing the air. Where I think if I understand the comment correctly, is that what's happening, you're doing the pinch twist, and then it's pushing the air in, and then you have like not too big of a bubble. My guess is what's happening is either, rather than pinching down here for the pinch twist, you're pinching up here at the base, and what's happening is, then it's going to push the air down, and then you've got nothing to twist, and you're going to end up with like a really loose, it's because I've seen that with some people, instead they're pinching with their whole hand, and then they're trying to do a pinch twist, and then you're getting like this really weak, like little tiny pinch twist bubble that doesn't work and won't hold because there's no pressure or tension there, right? So what it normally comes down to is that they're trying to squeeze, I'm trying to see if I can show the camera, trying to squeeze the whole bubble as they pinch twist. So see what I do when I do a pinch twist, I just squeeze where I want the twist to be, right? Where I want the pinch to be. So I squeeze down here, right? And then I squeeze just down here, just at the base. I squeeze, okay? I get my bubble. Then after I have my bubble, and I have 3, and so I twisted it 3 times here, 3 times here. That bubble, if you look, I squeeze this bubble, the air's not going anywhere because I twisted it off good here, I twisted it off good here. So if I squeeze it, there's no air going anywhere. So then when I twist it, I'm getting a nice good pinch twist. So what can happen is if 1, 2, 3, if you instead of doing three twists here, 1, 2, 3, if you just do like 1, then what happens is when you go to do a pinch twist, you can actually squeeze the air out into this remaining bubble. Okay, so if your pinch twists aren't getting tight, it could be that you're not twisting it off enough so that the air's, when you do a pinch twist, it's pushing the air into the uninflated part. Does that make sense? Or what could be happening is instead you're not twisting it at all, and you're just trying to like do a pinch twist from the start, and then you're squeezing the whole, because I've seen people do this where they're just trying to do a pinch twist, and they end up squeezing the whole bubble, and then they don't get anything, right? So you want to make sure when you're doing a pinch twist, you want to twist off a separate bubble that's, and you should be able to squeeze it and not go anywhere, right? And then you fold it over, pinch, twist. It shouldn't be going anywhere. So I hope I answered that question. If not, maybe reword it if I'm not understanding you correctly. But I hope whoever had the question about the pinch twist, I hope that clarified it. All right. So back to the flat weave. What we did is we had a pinch twist and a pinch twist at the ends, right? One pinch twist, the balloon, we went over and down. The other one had pinch twist over and down. So if you can see this, we had 2 pinch twists, right? One went over and down, the other one went over and down, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna repeat that, where we do a small spacer bubble, okay? And we go over, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a spacer bubble by pinching as I twist, okay? So you could just do a small spacer bubble, right? And then you do another bubble, right? And then you twist these 2 together after you twist them off, right? What I find works better is to pinch it as I twist it, and I create the spacer bubble at the same time, right? So then again, you're gonna do a small spacer bubble. You go over, you're gonna pinch this as you twist it, so you create a spacer bubble, okay? Then you're gonna go over, you're gonna see you want it to be here, so you're gonna twist it, so it's the same length. Then you're gonna roll these 2 bubbles around each other like this, okay? And so you get this like flat weave, right? Again, show you again. Small spacer bubble, bring it down, pinch it, twist it, okay? Bring it back up, twist it however long you want it to be, and then roll those 2, okay? And then I normally end it with a pinch twist and break it off. So the way I found is easy for me to break it is I pull it tight so that this is very flat. I don't know if you can see that in there. So it's very flat. I squeeze all the air out, but I push it wide. What I don't want to do is make it tight like this, because that's going to be very hard to break. If it's tight in there like that, it's going to be kind of like trying to snap a rubber band. It's going to be very tough to break, right? So what I do is I push my thumbs, and they try to make this flat, but not only flat, I try and also make it wide. So I'm pushing the air out, so I'm making it flat and wide at the same time. And then what I'm doing is I'm push my thumbs and pull my thumbs apart at the same time. I'm kind of doing like that motion where my thumbs are going in and then out. And you can see, like, oh, you're using your nails. You can see I don't have nails, okay? So this has nothing to do about using nails to pop the balloon, okay? And it's not about strength, it's about speed, okay? It's not about nails or strength, it's about speed. So what you're gonna do, you squeeze the air out of the section you wanna break, okay? You make it flat and wide and fast. You just rip it, and then you have 2 sections, okay?
And you're using Qualitex balloons, or which balloons are you using?
Okay, so let me talk about that in a second. Okay, so again, pinch twist on either side, and again, make it flat and wide, and it's about speed, and just like that. And again, I don't have nails. I prefer doing that as opposed, I've seen balloon artists pop it with their teeth, where they'll bring up the balloon. And I don't think that's generally a good idea, because I think it shows the kids that it's okay to put the balloons in their mouth, which even though there's never been, and again, this is important too, there's never been a recorded case of a child choking on a 260 that I've ever been able to find a recorded case of. I don't even know if it's possible for a kid to choke on a 260, because when they pop, they're small enough pieces. I've never heard of a child or an animal choking on a 260. However, I wouldn't want that the first time to happen be at one of my events. So I definitely don't want to encourage kids to put balloons in their mouth. I think if you're popping balloons with your teeth, it kind of sets a bad precedent. So I don't like to do that. I also wouldn't recommend popping balloons with scissors, because I've been at an event where a kid reached up and grabbed another balloon out of scissors and slipped their hand wide open. You don't want to be that artist either. So what I used to cut my balloons, well, first I mainly rip them. But if sometimes it's something like, let's say, an uninflated balloon, it's really hard to rip an uninflated balloon. It's much easier to do it when there's air in it, right? So what I'll do is I have this yarn cutter, which you can get at like Michael's or not Staples, Michael's or like a Hobby Lobby. But you can see there's a little blade in there, but it has a housing, so you can't cut your fingers on it. A kid's not going to cut themselves on it. Nothing can fit in there, but a balloon can fit right in there, and it cuts it, pretty easy. Okay, so this is what I would recommend to cut balloons, is the little yarn cutter. But again, this would be our flat weave that we just did. Again, a flat weave is good. You can put like a handle on it and make a purse, and you can actually fit like a cell phone in here. You can also use it for SpongeBob SquarePants' head. I'll put like a little nose coming out of it. I also put it like this and put wheels on it, and it's like a race car. But again, the applications, you can do whatever you want with it. But this is a flat weave. And again, I don't know. I can't remember. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't remember where I first saw this, or I don't know who was the first one to create flat weaving. Otherwise, I would give them credit if I knew who invented flat weaving. I did not invent flat weaving, but I think it's just something I saw a picture of and just kind of picked up. I don't remember ever being taught how to do a flat weave. I think it's just trial and error. I saw a picture and be like, I wonder how I do that, and just figured it out. But yeah, this would be flat weave. Okay. Another weave that I thought would be important to show you guys. I've heard this called different things. I've heard this called a flower weave, a blossom weave. Sometimes you'll get weaves that have different names. Because I pop them too. I have flowers that all, different twists and weaves will have different names depending on who's the one doing it. So
Harry said the Clover yarn cutters are on eBay and Amazon too.
There you go. But yeah, I find they're really good. They work. So for this one, what you're gonna do is you're gonna inflate 3 balloons. Okay, and I'll show you how much I have uninflated. I'm being attacked. Okay, so 3 balloons. They don't have to be exactly the same, but you want to be close. For these, only about like 2 inches or about 3 fingers width uninflated. Okay, and you're actually gonna use that. So I've heard this called different things. I've heard this called burping the balloon. I've heard this called what's stretching the balloon. I've heard it called different things, but basically all you're gonna do is you're gonna squeeze here. So you're gonna squeeze here, squeeze here. What you're gonna do is you're gonna force this air into here, which should make all of the entire length of the balloon a little bit more flexible, because you're taking the same volume of air but pushing it into the end. So now the same volume of air is occupying more space, so the entire balloon is more flexible and stretchy and going to pop less easy. Okay, so you have to do it again. You're going to squeeze here at the same time you're squeezing here. Okay, and it's going to push the air in there. But one thing that I found I always do at events, and I recommend you do this too, is whenever you have to push the air in there, always just do this. Okay. Just because you'd be surprised. I've had people who I've done a party for them and I did all kinds of stuff, and their favorite part is the fact that I did this. I'm like, really? I just made you a dragon and a Spider-Man and a motorcycle, and you like the fact that I went, whew, and the balloon would, and like I've literally had parents leave that in the review saying, oh, he even did magic tricks. I'm like, I wouldn't hardly call that a magic trick. But again, like the thing you need to remember is that the things that impress you as an artist may be different than the things that impress the client.
Mm-hmm.
But then what you're going to do is now you should just have, after you squeeze the balloon, you squeeze it like this at the same time, quickly. Again, if you do it slow, again, with a lot of stuff with the balloon twisting, you need to do it fast. So when you inflate it fast. When you twist it fast. When you squeeze it fast. If you do it slow, it's not going to have the same effect. So you just want to quickly go, quick. Okay, that's all you do. Just beep. okay, and it'll squeeze the air down. They just have like a little nubbin, okay? You want to tie that together in one big loop, right? And so you do that with all of them. We just tie the knot with a little nubbin. Okay, on all 3 of these. But see, that one's not quite enough, so I'm going to squeeze a little bit more air into that one. Okay, now you have these, and they kind of look like a giant circle. So you go like this, and what this does is it kind of finds the middle spot, because even if you did it down here, see it's gonna slide. So you kind of want to just find wherever the middle spot is, and just kind of pop it, and it'll leave like a little crease there, and then you just twist it. Okay, and you can joke around and be like, "You want to see a celebrity impersonation? Angelina Jolie."
Gilbert says that was a great tip earlier.
Thank you. Or you can say Meg Ryan. I don't know, but anyway, but you can just make jokes about it, you know, about being lips or something like that. And then what you do is I always bring it, so you have now the twist on each end. You're gonna bring it together, grab it, and then just twist. Okay, and then I'll make a joke like, you know what these are? Elton John's glasses. Woo! Okay, and I say, just kidding. In all reality, they're a floaty, because I can't swim. Okay. I think it's important to be playing around with your clients. You tell them jokes. Don't take yourself too seriously. I know it's hard because we are a serious artist, but you're also an entertainer. And I will tell you this, entertainers almost always get paid more than artists. Not always. There's a rare occasion, but almost always entertainers get paid more than artists, which is why you will have phenomenal musicians who have struggling careers and are struggling to make ends meet, even though they might be an amazing technical musician. They might have a great voice, they might be great on guitar, and technically speaking, they might be one of the best musical artists around. But you'll always have someone who maybe is less talented, not as great of a singer, not as great of a musician, but if they know how to put on a show, they will have much more ticket sales, much more record sales, because people value entertainment over art. That's just the world we live in, okay? So keep that in mind as you're becoming a balloon artist, that you really want to be a balloon entertainer, because that's really going to make you a lot more money than being a balloon artist, if that makes sense. Because people will always pay more for entertainment than for art. So again, do the same thing again. And one more time. And I don't know who originated this particular weave. I tend to call it blossom weave. But I learned it from Terry Stokes. So that's who taught it to me. Terry Stokes in Houston, Texas. Happy Hearts the Clown. She is amazing. She's phenomenal. If you've been in the balloon industry for long, you probably know Terry Stokes. But Terry Stokes is a genius. And so that's who taught this to me. But I know she did not create this design either, so I don't know who created this particular weave. But, so anyway, what you're going to end up having is you're going to have these 3 figure 8s, right? Like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to put them all together, okay? See these 3 figure 8s, and they're not twisted together yet. They're just kind of, I hold them with one hand, okay? And then I'm going to twist one side of them around, okay? So you get kind of this, okay? Kind of a big flower. And you can use this as a big flower, okay? But then what you're going to do is you're going to take one of them. I'm trying to do, it's going to be hard to do this in reverse so I can show you. But so you just work your way around, right? And so as you're working your way around, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of them, and you're going to turn this one sideways, okay? And then you're going to bring it through, and you want it to hug the one next to it, like that. So see, it kind of went around, so it's here. Try and do this close again. So you're bringing this one, you're going to have this one where these 2 hug this one. So watch, bring it around. And so now they're kind of hugging that, right? Does that make sense? Then you're going to work around doing the same thing. So now this one's going to hug this one. So bring this around and hug that one, okay? And then just bring this one around, and it's going to go underneath so that you're kind of hugging both sides of it, okay? And bring this one around, so this one is now going to go around this one. So it hugs it, okay? And then the very last one's the trickiest one, where you're just bringing one over and just, see if you see, you're just switching the places, right? Where you're just going like that. So only the last one, right? And so what that does is if you did it right, it should look like this. We have over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So it should be over, under every one, right? And so if you squeeze it kind of, wait, one's missing in here. Hold up. See, it looks weird in here. Somehow one got missed. So again, all I'm doing is I just like this. Okay, I'm gonna bring both of these around and hug in front of this one. So like this. Okay? And then again, this one's gonna come through and hug this one. So I'm gonna show you what this is gonna look like. So if you have it more flat, okay, like this, it can make a pretty flower, right? And you can put like a flower in here, okay? What I tend to use this for is to kind of squish it down. And I use this for the bottom of my princess dresses.
Right.
So for like Elsa, Belle, Snow White, we'll do this. Okay, so you have this cool, like the bottom of their dress looks like a gown, and then you make the whatever princess on top of this. Okay, so or it could still be a flower, or it could be a hat. Okay, but again, this would be what I've heard this referred to is the blossom weave, where it's just kind of again because it kind of looks like a really cool flower. But I hope again, I hope that was easily explained. It's kind of hard to.
It actually made sense.
Show the camera, but again, you guys can go back and watch this and rewatch it to make sure. But the biggest thing again that I've learned is what it's about is you bring the two sections of the balloon, right? You bring them around over the one next to it. So it kind of hugs it like that, and that one falls in between, right? And then you do that once and you just work your way around. And I will say there's several other tutorials of people doing this on YouTube. I will say I had a hard time learning this one. I saw a couple people doing it online and had a difficult time figuring it out. And then Terry was able to show me in person, and she explained it in an easier way. But anyway, so that's a blossom weave, which can come in handy for, again, flowers, dresses. I don't know, use your imagination. Come up with something pretty.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And, a few questions. I missed this. My hands are very small. I really like the 6-petal flower, but it's hard for me to make the twist with 6 petals. Do you have any tips to make this easier?
Yes. So I don't know if you're talking about the one. Are you talking about the one I just made or the standard one? Because I'll show you the standard one, which I hate with a passion. So the way that I was first taught to make a balloon flower, which is the way that I think most people are taught, is what I call like the sausage link flower, right? So this, I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but where you do like this, you find the middle spot, and then you separate it into 3 sections, right? Where you go like here and here, right? So you have kind of like the sausage link looking thing, and then you make it into a Z, right? And then you have this, and then you have to push it together and grab it all with one hand, right? And you need a kind of a big hand to do that. And then you twist it around, and then you have like this basic flower. Is this what you were talking about, or were you talking about this one? Because this one you actually don't need big hands for, because you're just kind of looping it one loop at a time. If this is what you're talking about, yes, you need big hands for this, and I hate this with a passion. I don't think anyone should be doing their flowers like this, because 1, I don't think it particularly looks good, but 2, I don't know if you can tell, but these get, when you do it this way, the petals get really, really tight, and it pops super, 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 super easy. So again, I don't think it looks good. I think it pops super easy, and you need big hands to do it. So if you want to do this kind of flower, 2 other ways I recommend doing it. So one way would be just make the petals individually. Now you have to make it a little bit smaller, because the benefit of this one is each one of these petals is as big as it can possibly be and have them still be uniform in size. You're not using any extra space. However, if you're trying to make it 1 petal at a time, it is very, very, very hard to guess the exact perfect length so that at the very end you have no leftover, right? So, but what I would recommend doing is, again, just create like a hand width bubble, loop twist, pull the knot through, and then just do 6 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because then, again, you don't need big hands for this, because you're just doing 1 bubble at a time. Okay? And break it off. Okay? So then you have a 6 bubble flower, right? And again, this
Pamela
is a little
says
smaller, but I actually think this looks better than this. The balloon, the bubbles themselves aren't as tight because I made them one at a time. I think it looks better. I think it looks smaller, tighter, cuter. You don't need big hands for it, so I would do it one petal at a time, if that makes sense, rather than trying to do it that way, which I hate.
Pamela said you nailed the question.
Woo!
Okay, well, I think that's about it. We ran a little long, but that was okay. And I think we'll do this again if that works for you.
Yep.
And
today the goal was just, again, not to necessarily teach any particular designs, just to really go over some real basics that I think are important for people starting out. But again, I hope that even people who have been doing this for a while can still pick up some things here and there, maybe a new way to do something or a faster way to do something, so that everyone could benefit. But yeah, the goal of this was just kind of people who are just starting out, give them, here's the basics of how to do the basic twists, some of the basic weaves. Yeah, so I hope people found it beneficial.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll be posting like this stuff on clownantics.com's Facebook page when we get to the next one. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Josh.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.